So now what I'd like to do is to go into my lived experience in connection with the past and with Cézanne in terms of this particular painting. Can take that up so that you can see the first four lines. Do we want to come back at 2 o'clock or do we want to do it now? Let me just say very simply that because Cézanne has painted drapery and chests and baskets and glassware and bottles and things of that sort, does that mean that that's foreclosed for me or any other artist? It's like saying because Michelangelo has sculpted and painted the nude, is that foreclosed? I'd stay away from that? My answer to that is absolutely no. I hit a point in my own career and my own training between Dickinson and working out on the problems where this strain of Cézanne-related thought was necessary to be carried out. And this is you might say, the culmination of it, I would think. It has all the elements of that Cézanne might use, not all the elements, but it has a white drapery, it has fruit, it has composition in one thing or another. And my friend, who had acquired the painting, said, I sense, because he became very interested in Cézanne and began to do a lot of looking at originals as well as through the books and so forth, that this painting was even more structured than Cézanne because it was structured in depth as well as structured in terms of the surface of the canvas. I said to him, don't you mean a difference in structure, a different kind of space? Because there are different kinds of space. So we began a discussion of all of this. What is going on in here that's different from Cézanne, if you will look, is that very firmly the first 4 lines of the composition, entrances into it, are 1, 2, 3, 4, if you will. Everything in it is related there, and it's related not only on the two-dimensional surface, but it's related spatially. In other words, your eye is going to go from the corner here to the points in here, up into there, and down over into here. The triangle, rather centered triangle, it's all been set up. These are gourds. They are probably gourds I raised. Most of them have gotten rather moldy with age, and a couple of them have turned green and blue, as you can see here. That yellow one in the center is going to catch your eye, and you're going to naturally go down into here and down into here to kind of a repeat of the triangle that the circle of the basket is pulling down. These points that you see, we'll go back to the first 4 lines again, how powerfully that sets up that orthogonal. And it's not a perspective orthogonal in that I've laid out a grid in any kind of way, but there is no 2 ways that that is not behind that, and that's not the kind of thing, treatment that Cézanne will make. Cézanne would break in a very conspicuous way these verticals and horizontals that you see in this picture, which are essential to its composition. I never, ever went as far from the observed appearance of nature as Cézanne did. I don't to this day, and I didn't in the days of my comparative youth. So there is something very abstract about the approach to the shapes in here, and what my friend who acquired the painting said is, I feel it's very much that Cézanne is a very serious painter and very concerned with where everything is in terms of structure, and I feel the same thing here. I agree. Color-wise, we come out of a very different place. I, from Edwin Dickinson, with the observed color spot, the note placed right next to each other, the way the painting is built up, constructed so that every note in the painting is related to every other note. Cézanne came at it a different way after he got to Picasso when he was, rather, Pissarro, excuse me. If he got to Pissarro when he was about 35, he took the Impressionist you might say, blobs of color that didn't lie on the forms. It didn't really create the structure of the form that he was after. He organized it in not as just as brushwork, but he tempered the piece of color. That aspect of Impressionism he tempered in such a way as to create the structure that you see in his paintings. And in order to push that structure further, he set up patterns in here which violate the axis of a bottle, let's say, or tabletop, and I don't do that kind of thing. At the same time, the desire for structure and the enjoyment of it is just as strong in me. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't come for any painter who's a real painter. It doesn't come from the outside in. You're not doing what the intellectuals and the scholars seem to think. You're not starting with an idea. It comes from the inside out, from the needs, the lived needs, and the experience of the painter. So a few other things we can point out. The various repeats and rhythms of verticals and diagonals, the way they play with each other. A small shape like that, and smaller shapes, larger and smaller shapes. And here are the kind of thing that I think painters have delighted in when they've taken up still life subjects from antiquity to the present day. Whether it's George Braque making a still life, or whoever. If you reconstructed a Cézanne still life, such as the one that we were looking at, in actuality, the apples would roll off the fractured table in different directions, and you couldn't pour wine from the wine bottle or the pitcher, if there were one, in it, in the picture. Of course, it is a painted world. It's not the real world, and that's part of the joy of it.